Hello, Mr. Gary Deforve. Is this Gary Deforve? I'm not the fat, stiffing Molyneux, but no. Well, let's do the theme song. All right. Ain't got no mother, got no culture, ain't got no friends, ain't got no schooling, ain't got no home, got no money, got no ticket, ain't got no token. Ain't got no God. I got life. All right. That's a version of I Got Life. All right. My name is Gary Deforve. I'm a gardener, folk singer, and political commentator. And I just wanted to ramble for a second, just because I'm thinking about this. I just had some interesting thoughts about it because I wanted to get it down and kind of like talk about it because I don't think I have a video to show on this. I'm just talking about this poker tournament I went to. We're talking to this guy, a very interesting fellow, celebrity poker player, knew all these Jerry Buss, knew all these, played with all these celebrities, these big tournaments, played at the World Series over and over, and wrote many screenplays and whatnot. And very interesting. And he knows, of course, this Hollywood guy. Actually, his nickname is Hollywood, which is a poker player. I got to put this name in the video when I get this guy's name. I'm talking with Hollywood and the rest of the table. And we're talking, and I get it, I'm over opinionated, obviously. That's why I do my own show here. So I have a place to ramble my stupid opinions that no one seems to agree with, like, or find relevant to anything. But, and here, here's the whole, it's interesting to me. We were talking, although he was like basically, I didn't have no problem with what he was saying, even though he was a little bit more establishment, and like, I think he was a little bit, more iffy about what's considered the far radical left or whatever. And obviously I'm like, whatever, considered in America, like absurdly, like some kind of radical left, because they've like pinned like the radical, they make like, it's been so demonized in like popular culture. I mean, it's really been the Russian boogeyman where like we should be worried about somehow like, if you take away like the super billionaires' money, you're next. First they came for Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos' money, then and no one said anything. So then they came for everybody. No, that's not how it works. We should get together. We should go for their money. You understand what I did there with the? So anyway, there's these people here. I kind of do my speech about like how Obama is a failed presidency because he's, he lost 1,000 seats, just the basics to go through, like lost 1,000 seats, lost the presidency, lost the Congress, like, the propaganda thing, my view about the propaganda, where like that's a very important. So I'm just rambling, and I'm talking this through. I'm interjecting here, I'm talking about, I'm just like dissing Trump and dissing Obama. So whatever side you're on, you probably hate me because, I'm dissing all these people. Hillary, obviously I'm the Bernie side of, I think he's like obviously the only one. I just see like honesty. I don't see honesty in any of the others, like at all. I don't see any honesty to them whatsoever. Hillary's just like so used to lying. It's just like breathing, just like Trump. It's more like, it's like the blood that flows through their bodies is the lies. They were just like, that's what they do, is they lie for a living. So we're just talking about this, and eventually this one lady, I forget how it started, but they're like trying to like interject and like, boy, you're really opinionated, man. Or there's like, okay, there's one guy, a Russian guy, he don't talk too much. Then the next guy's a Filipino dude. Then there's a lady, and she's like a high school principal. We'll talk about her later. She'll be the next one. Then there's a guy in the corner there who I forget who's in the corner. Maybe that seat's empty. And then there's a guy. Wait, who is that guy? Anyway, I don't remember that guy. And then there is a person from Middle Eastern, very strongly Middle Eastern features. And then there's a person who's a yoga teacher. And then to my right is we have this guy who's a political speechwriter. That's how we got on politics. He's into politics. They're talking about politics. I interject my political views. But like I felt like it's like I'm the one who's like being like this crazy insurrectionist when we have, like, I would say, an insanely far right government compared to anywhere in the world. That people aren't realizing like how corporately freaking rigged it is. The Republicans are super rigged. It's like both parties are serving capital, and it's just that simple. And there's labor and capital, and it's just a big, like I explained, obviously, the one dude, also, there's like one Mexicanish looking dude with like long hair and like blind wear, who has like some, or what it is camouflaged shirt. And anyways, so he's fairly cool, but I think I offended him too earlier on there because he said that the Clinton was the biggest cocaine dealer in the whole world, or rather, no, sorry, in wherever he's from, Georgia, when Clinton's from Arkansas. Anyways, and so he said before he was president, he was the biggest cocaine dealer in Arkansas. And I said, well, that's probably not true because they do put a lot of, it's just like a full-time job of them to create like bullshit stories about the Clintons and the Clinton crime family and Dinesh D'Souza. And so there's like both sides. So whatever you're seeing, like I use that rule, it's probably because someone rich and powerful wants you to see it. And they may have a different, they may seem like they're on different sides, but they're both on the sides of the rich and powerful keeping all their money. So they're really on the same side. Anyway, the high school principal there, sheet 7. And at some point, yeah, it starts talking about, oh, you're really opinionated. Ah, yes, you got some real opinions. Because I'm like, Obama's a failed presidency, basic stuff like that, which I think is very well supported, and no one just wants to hear it, I guess. I understand they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear the negativity. I'm trying to understand exactly, though. That's why I'm trying to figure out exactly what it is. It's just like they're so turned off because they've created such a negative aura around the whole thing. They've created such a feeling of unfriendliness and conflict and friction that people just don't even want to get in there because they're just like, it just makes them physically uncomfortable to get in there. And for some reason, I'm like, I want to get in there just because I have like different, private, maybe because of whatever. But yeah, basically that's what they're doing is they create an uncomfortability around it. And the high school principal says, well, I'm a high school principal, and I just wanted to come in here and just play poker and just be pokery and whatever, And because I'm a high school principal, I'm like, wow, And then the guy named Hollywood, the poker player, the older gentleman screenwriter said, yeah, oh, well, that's very interesting. The high school principal doesn't much. Well, it could be a private high school principal. It could be like these types of people too. They tend to be more authoritarian because they're authoritarian themselves. So at least whether they're actually avoid drugs or they're not in the free side of like allowing themselves to do any drugs or get into any alternative. They're more like get into the structured things. Maybe she's an ex-military or she's like, they come through like the public services and like that. And they sort of like, there's a way they really, they indoctrinate them and they make them pit, the whole idea that they're somehow against us city people, that country people and red states and blue states are like have like opposing interests, and that it's really absurd, like the conflict that they're creating through it. But that's like all a big fake freaking conflict. And then some people come in and even say, oh, that's a big fake freaking conflict. This is the real conflict. And they're talking about another fake conflict. That's another false flag, So it's just like there's literally, that's how I call it, the 52 pickup strategy, where it's literally all the freak over the place. It's 52 pickup, which is another card analogy too. I think I like the idea of like explaining communism for poker players. That's a good idea for a video or a video series, communism for poker players. So they could explain like how, like if capitalism was poker, what would the tournament rules be? Something like that. Just an idea of like something to work on in the future if I should think about it. So, and yeah, I'm just like, yeah, so you're an overpaid administrator. You're making $100,000 to miseducate our kids. And for some reason, you're like, I don't know what her point was. And the man asked her, like, the Hollywood guy asked her, as long as you're against him, and I don't even know, she probably gave him one of these, like, she thinks she's like freaking, like, for some reason, like her desire not to hear, and that's what I'm saying. I mentioned too, it was a Russian guy, and the Russian guy says, I would rather not hear about it too. So we have a Russian guy, a Filipino go, don't talk about it, don't talk about it, don't talk about it. Filipino guy doesn't want to talk about it. Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Literally, it's like that. That's what these people, if they're conservatives, right? They're probably all conservatives. And they just don't want to know the truth about the fact that they've been, that's what cult members don't want to know either. The cult members don't want to know that they've been lied to and their whole life is a lie. People don't want to know that their whole life is a lie. I understand that. So when you tell them that, you're not going to be considered a nice person, But really, America's a lie. So if you're like just like participating in the show and not talking about it, like very few people are talking about it. And if you talk about it, then you're somehow out of the blue. You're like Mr. Crazy. Yeah, that's what they call you, crazy. You're crazy. That's crazy. The people who like think that like maybe Bezos should be taxed a little bit, or the monopolies should be broken up, or like we should go with like sensibler policies like they have in Germany or some shit like that. That's insanity. I mean, yeah, we're pushing it towards public ownership. That's like, I think, the end goal. But, we're taking these material, we want to take all the material gains we can get. It's another reason why the Peter Joseph, just an addendum, it's just like that was the wrong answer. Maybe I'm not going to do that now, because I'm just going to say that was the wrong answer, Peter Joseph, when you said, oh, because they're the middle class of the world and blah, 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 blah. We can't have healthcare. Does that sound real to you? It doesn't sound real to me. If you want to believe that, go ahead and believe it. But it's fucking, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. That is just, that's why I think Peter Joseph is legitimately called the alt left, because he is not, although, of course, and I would not call Hillary and Obama left at all. They're center right. Obama has said she's center right. Hillary's, and it's just not even in question. Obama's to the right of Reagan. They're both far to the right of Nixon. There's just no question about it. That's just like the, that's and the idea that there's no objective reality and it's just everybody's opinion's the same, because that's just not, that's something we're fighting against too. I want to just feel this. And then the whole thing about the yoga teacher who had a little bit of a certain accent, like he might be part of a marginalized group, something, you may be in a yoga teacher, that's suspicious too. And he's like, and when we left, he's like, well, I don't necessarily feel, I won't do his accent, but I don't feel things about things, I don't feel them, but you actually feel them. And, yeah, I guess I care, but I get freaking, I'm like in a constant state of fury in a way. That's true. And maybe that is like the Asperger's syndrome, where I'm ready to just like pop off. I am ready to pop off. Although I feel very controlled right now. I don't feel like I'm ready, but people would listen to me and like they think I'm on cocaine. Maybe I could do that. Where's it? I have to stop and do more cocaine now. So please send money and like and share and love me. Give me love, give, receive, take, give.